guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, he's 34 years old, and he's going to share his story about how his ex-girlfriend is having a complete meltdown, and I mean that as much as I can mean it, because he is now getting married. He now found another woman, and obviously is better than her, and she's freaking out about it. And pretty much he's going to get into how he dated her for like 8 years. They were next door neighbors growing up. Her family knows his family knows hers, blah, blah, blah. And it went well for years until she started behaving like a lot of these gals in these stories. And he, fortunately, could connect the dots, see there were problems, so he broke up with her. And apparently it was so important for her to stay friends with him. But ultimately, he didn't want to, but he was like, whatever. He moved on, found a great girl. This guy's a relationship type of guy, and he's definitely sounds like he's doing things right and taking his time. But regardless, and the ex found out, now she's having a freaking meltdown. And so I'm doing this story, guys, for a few reasons. One, to show you how a lot of times when you break up with a girl, they don't handle rejection very well. Women hate rejection, especially when, even if things aren't going well, if the guy breaks up with her, all of a sudden, if she was going to break up with you, she now sees it in a different light, okay? And they can't sometimes let these things go. Two, how a lot of times it's best to truly part ways. How you really can't be friends afterward after spending that much time in a relationship with someone. And how a lot of times they can carry a torch for you for years. And I might add, keep you around because they want to keep you as friends just in case as backup, in case it doesn't work out with other dudes, they can always settle and fall back on you. And of course, how a lot of gals have meltdowns when the guy is moving ahead in life and she's not. And obviously another woman taking her place. A lot of important lessons in this story, which I will get more into as I read this story, but it's an interesting one. And I'm also, by the way, doing this, guys, because this guy's going to openly admit he's a relationship guy. And even though I know a lot of you guys through the comment section and all want to act like you're not, there are plenty of guys that follow me that do dating relationships, so you'll benefit from this story. And the rest of you that don't will find this entertaining, having a gal having a meltdown, as I know you certainly do. And you know it. So it starts off, he says, hello and good day, SSM. I've been a listener since July this year, and your content is exactly what young men need to hear. I'm currently struggling with a situation right now, and I'm hoping that you and your viewers could give me some advice and guide me on what to do. While I know that there are open forum websites like Reddit to get opinions on this, I'd rather get advice from an open and honest content creator like yourself and like-minded viewers rather than a bunch of internet strangers with different backgrounds. Well, brother, you came to the right place, because if there's one thing you can count on is comments from this community and a lot of audience participation. So brothers, wherever you are around the world, what time of day it is, be sure to share your thoughts and comments on this guy's story to help him out. Okay, he says here, I am a 34-year-old relationship guy. I want to have a family and do the whole white picket fence thing with the kids kind of life. I was also dating a girl we'll call Amber since high school. Amber and I, she's currently 33, were neighbors, and we pretty much grew up together. The girl next door, if you will. We started dating at 16, and we were together for 8 years. Amber and I, both our families were super close, so we never had to worry about hiding it from our parents or siblings. It sounds like a TV show or something. We finished high school and went to college together. Our relationship was great for the most part, and we barely fought, but at the tail end of our relationship, it seemed that she wasn't giving her 100% anymore. That's usually how these things go eventually. I mean, 8 years is a long freaking time from 16 to 24. Long time. That's a big chunk of your life, dude. During that time, Amber and I were finishing our college degrees, and we prioritized that over our relationship. But even after we were in the clear academic-wise, Amber didn't really put much effort into the relationship anymore. Remember, guys, how I tell you to always pay attention to her actions? Now, obviously, in life, you pay attention to everybody's actions, both men and women. It goes both ways, but in this story, it's for a woman. If she all of a sudden is not putting a whole lot of effort into the relationship, and she once was, there's something up. Okay? You need to pay attention to that. And it can be subtle little things like the length of time it takes you to respond to a text, how enthusiastic she is when she sees you, how much effort she puts into the relationship, these types of things, okay? How enthusiastic she is in the sack. While once before she wanted to hook up and if you will, breed like rabbits without the breeding, but hooking up like rabbits, to all of a sudden, not really in the mood. These are all things to pay attention to. And so good for this guy for noticing this. He says, I think Amber started to enjoy being away from me, but also wanted to stay in a relationship with me because I was a good support system for her. Translation, it sounds like she was easing into the mindset, or already wanted to have her cake and eat it too. Started enjoying being away, but no matter what, she always had that insurance of having you in the background. The safety net, the backup plan. Eventually, I broke it off with her when I found out that she planned an entire road trip with her friends and didn't invite me or inform me. Well, that's real nice and considerate of a girlfriend of 8 years who obviously you're pretty serious with. Red flags. All of a sudden planning these road trips, not inviting you when probably in the past she would. Good for you that having the balls and the strength to say, between obviously you not put much in this relationship anymore and now you're pulling stuff like this, I think it's time we part ways. A lot of guys would not do that, so good for you. It seems like you already had a lot of knowledge that a lot of the guys have that go to channels like mine early on. It says, Amber tried to apologize and said that I could go if I wanted, but I was firm on splitting up. Then she tried to bring up some BS about me not being clingy enough for her or not constantly validating her. Make it out to be your fault. And by the way, newsflash, when guys behave that way, acting clingy and constantly bombarding her with compliments and putting her on a pedestal, that's usually when they break up with them. But this is just an excuse to make you the bad guy instead of her. We had a long discussion about our relationship and what we wanted in life, and eventually we both agreed to amicably break up. Is there really an amicable breakup anymore? I mean, sometimes, but no matter what, there's always somebody a little bitter, somebody a little angry, somebody a little hurt. However, Amber insisted, pay attention to that insisting part, that we stay in touch as her friendship with me was important to her. I reluctantly agreed, but had no intentions of actually keeping in touch with her. Yeah, after 8 years, you can't just be buddies and hang out. It doesn't work that way. I'm not saying you can be enemies, but just to go be friends, it's absurd. It doesn't work, and I'm sure many of you guys have been in a relationship know this, okay? Especially when the one obviously has a hard time with the other person breaking up with them. And she wants to keep you around as a friend because if things don't work, this guy could be backup. That's what it is. Or at least a majority of the time. Anyway, a couple of years pass by, and at this point, Amber and I are still friends. I still see her when I visit her parents' house. When I visit my parents' house sometimes, since she inherited the house from her grandmother. Sounds like she lives next door or across the street or something. So obviously he's going to run into her when he goes to visit his family. From the looks of it, she became a wild party girl ever since we split up. And since she has since invited me to a couple of house parties, but I decline every time. Yeah, why the hell would you go? Okay, again, you don't want to hang out. But there's a surprise after 8 years being in a relationship, and who knows whether she was true and blue to him the entire time. It sounds like in the end, definitely, if she wasn't already having things going on the side, it's certainly a possibility that, let me rephrase that, it's very likely it was going to go down that path, if not already. But no surprise, she became a wild girl. That's what we also call carousel riders over here. Then I met my now fiancée, Nicole, a 25-year-old female. We met during one of my business seminars back in 2019, and we've been going strong ever since. So you're 34 and your girl is 25 or something like that. Okay, good for you. You got a younger woman. Now, this whole fiancé thing, bro, I'm really hoping you're careful here and do all the screening things I tell you about to do in previous videos. I'm not going to go over the list now because I could be yapping for 5 minutes, but I'm sure you know at this point what I mean. It says, I took it slow with Nicole, and I only started officially dating her after about 4 or 5 dates. Ever since Amber and I've been I've been dead set about what I want in a partner, and my screening process for the women I date have been pretty lengthy. Good. Don't go racing into relationships and jumping into things. You have a right to be selective, bro, because you know what? You do well for yourself, and you know what? You're allowed to have some standards because we now know nowadays the gals certainly have a giant laundry list of requirements and standards, so there's nothing wrong for a guy to have some reasonable standards. You don't need to be like the girls that have a giant scroll of things they need to have, but you got to have certain things. And it's good you are taking your time. Take it slow. There's no rush. When COVID hit the world, me and Nicole decided to move in together, and I started to realize that my quality of life did improve, and any adjustments that I needed to make to accommodate Nicole were positive ones. He said, for instance, keeping the house cleaner, going on early morning jogs with her, and eating healthier. Well, bro, if you moved in with your girl, which I recommend you don't do unless you're going to get married, as a final test to see what they're like in real life, and it has been good for you, okay, cool. But again, pay attention to the red flags, but I'm glad things are going good. These are good signs. And it sounds like she's not pressuring you to rush into things, so that's also a good thing too. I wasn't planning on proposing anytime soon, but things quickly changed when I got infected with the virus. I was hospitalized and almost kicked the bucket, and at that point I realized life is short, and if I did want to start a family, then I better do it now. Well, bro, I'm glad you got through that. I know a couple people that died from it. And I also know plenty of people that got it and were just fine. In fact, let me rephrase it, the absolute majority were just fine. And the 2 people that passed away were older and had issues. After I recovered, Nicole and I started discussing our finances and other arrangements, and once we agreed on everything, I proposed to her. I know it's not very romantic, but I prefer planning big life events like business transactions, just so money or finances won't be a problem. Smart. That's exactly what you should do. And if she was on board with that and she was cool about that, awesome. You got a potential one that may work. And I want to emphasize may work, okay? Because a lot of gals, they don't want to talk about money or anything like that, or it's unromantic. No, it's smart. Because let's be honest here, marriage is a business. It's a business deal. You're getting something out of it, and she's definitely getting something out of it. But I really hope you've considered prenups, bro. And know to obviously have your own separate account for your paychecks to go into, and she has her own account for her paychecks to go into, and you have a joint account that you can both contribute to, take care of mutual bills like the rent or the mortgage, the electric bill, the cable bill, whatever. And therefore also you have credit cards in your name and your name only, and she has credit cards in her name and her name only. And you also know what kind of debt she may have right now. These are all important things, the financial department, to understand. And if you do that, good. It says also, I still plan to stay engaged for maybe 1 or 2 more years, then eventually plan the wedding for financial reasons and continue observing how me and her cohabitate. Good. See, guys, he's taken 1 to 2 years. I would stick to that 2-year thing of staying engaged and seeing all these different life situations that come your way to make sure. The screening process has to be long, guys, and so good. Anyhow, me and Nicole have decided to stay with my parents for the holidays, November to January, and tell everyone about the engagement. It all went swell, and it quickly spread throughout my hometown. You must be in a small town, brother. Now, guys, here's the part when the meltdown is imminent. It all went swell, blah, blah, blah. Everybody took the news well and congratulated me, except for Amber. Amber, the former girlfriend. About 3 days after letting everyone know, Amber called me and said it was urgent. I met her outside my house, and she looked like a drunken mess. That's the part when you probably should have said, I can see you're obviously a little toasted here. Why don't you go sober up, have some coffee, and maybe we'll talk tomorrow. Emphasizing the maybe part. She started crying and asking me how I could just marry someone I've only known for 2 years, but just act so heartless and cold towards her. Because the dude is now in his 30s, and he's way further along in life, and now he's ready for that. But while he's in his early 20s, he wasn't ready for that. He was still in school and still finding his place in the world and focusing on education and all that. And you obviously weren't it, honey. I tried to calm things down, but people started to stare at us as she was screaming and wailing. That's the part when you say, go home. Go home, go to bed. This discussion's over. You want to talk to me? You talk to me when you're actually sober and you can talk like a normal, controlled human being, not somebody thrown out drunk, flying off the handle and acting like a nutcase. The conversation was going nowhere, so I decided to just go back into my house. Amber tried to follow me in, but I quickly slammed the door before she reached me. Good, I'm glad you walked away. Amber did apologize to me after a few hours, but I really don't want to talk to her anymore. Why should you? I mean, you were doing her enough of a favor just by talking to her the first time, and she blew it by doing what she did. You don't owe her an explanation. She was your ex-girlfriend, and this was years and years ago that you broke up. And I might add, you broke up with her for a good reason. There's a reason she's the ex. There's a reason he didn't propose. Okay? Because you were ready, and she wasn't it. And she was already losing interest in the relationship and doing things that was very questionable. So you're not in the wrong here. My younger sister and friends are completely on my side here and think that me and Nicole should just leave early and celebrate the holidays elsewhere, while my family, except my younger sister and Nicole, think I should give Amber the chance to apologize and explain herself. If you're having a good time visiting your family over the holidays, why should you pick up and leave just because this chick, your ex-girlfriend, is acting like a nutcase? No, don't leave because of her. You're having a good time with your family. That's stupid. Don't do that. My family and Nicole are very religious and are using the word of God to give Amber a chance to apologize. My younger sister, on the other hand, told me a little bit more on Amber's state of mind. Amber found out through mutual friends and was super hurt that I didn't tell her directly about my engagement. She is your ex-girlfriend. Ex for a reason, as I said earlier. And you broke up what? Like you're 33 and it sounds like you were 24, so like 9 years ago? It's not our business. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, she was probably holding out hope that she'd get you one day. Like I said, having backup, the safety net, that's probably what's going on. And also, you are 34, and I'm guessing she's about the same age. She obviously isn't married. So a lot of times these gals get pretty upset when their guy has moved on and they're still in the same place. It could be a whole bunch of things. And remember, she's not thinking logically, she's thinking emotionally. Amber is also losing it because during our 8-year relationship, I have never once asked her to marry me, probably because I wasn't financially stable at the time, and this dealt a massive blow to her ego. My sister says that Amber never really got over me and was probably waiting for me to come back to her, but now that reality is crashing down, she's going crazy. See? I think your sister has a point there, because as I said before, guys, don't take advice from women about women, but there are some that definitely kind of get a clue, or some can get an inkling of what's going on in some of their psychotic minds. I agree with your sister. That's probably one part of it. What should I do, SSM? I don't want this crappy situation to get any worse, but Nicole and my family are being a little too forgiving about this. I need some advice, suggestions from you and your viewers. Well, bro, again, if you are having a great time visiting your family over the holidays, now he wrote this to me weeks ago, by the way. It is January 26th, and he wrote this back in December. I tell you guys, it takes a while for me to get some of these emails, but anyhow, I'm going to assume he stayed, but assuming he got this the first time, or anybody in this bizarre situation, no, you shouldn't leave. You're having a great time. Why should you leave because of her? And as for the whole thing, give her another chance, to explain herself, that's up to you, bro. The thing is, you don't need drama in your freaking life, but you don't owe her an explanation. You don't need, and if you're going to talk to her, just to obviously make peace, because there's some inkling, some party that's still okay, we had a relationship back then and I don't want to see her destroy herself or some bullshit like that. You can give her a chance to explain herself. But let me tell you, if she shows up drunk and she starts throwing a hissy fit again, all this drama, that's it. Done. Not a chance in hell. So if you want to give her another chance, okay, fine, on the basis that she behaves herself. But you don't owe her an apology or any bullshit like that, okay? Again, you've been broken up for 9 years. You moved on with your life, end of story. Don't explain yourself. None of that stuff, okay? In fact, the only reason you should talk to her at this point is for her to apologize for acting like a jackass out there. That's it. And if she has no intention of apologizing, and not to mention to your family because she was acting that way on their front lawn, then no. Not at all. But bro, focus on you. Take care of you. And it sounds like you're doing pretty well. I mean, you're obviously taking your time to, obviously, with this girl you're going to get engaged to, and it sounds like from what you're describing that she's cool, and I really hope the best for you. But again, remember some of the things I mentioned in this video about the finances and all. Definitely remember a lot of things I told you about with regards to the marriage and all that stuff. If you're going to do it, I would recommend prenup from both of you, amongst many other things, and go from there. And I wish you all the best. Because, I know I got a lot of relationship guys on here. But, guys, like I told you in the beginning, perfect example about you can't be friends with your ex. It doesn't work that way. And a lot of them will want to keep you around as backup just in case. And flat right there, his sister said, I think it's because she was hoping that one day, and she said you'd go back to her, not her come back to you, because her stubborn pride wouldn't go back to you. She was waiting for you to go back to her. Bullshit. You're a guy that's a catch. You got options. And that's why you found that girl. And I might add, your fiance sounds like she's 8-9 years younger than you while Amber's your age. I'm sure that probably pissed her off too. But she had probably opportunities to meet good guys. She had you, but she obviously ruined things. And she decided to be a wild girl, a free spirit for years. And now she's in her 30s and she's not as appealing as she once was to guys. But there you go, guys. Quick lesson about the whole friendship thing and meltdowns. And they can't take rejection. They hold out for you and have meltdowns when you move on. That'd be a good one to go. So anyhow, bro, I wish you luck. Good luck with everything, and I hope for the best. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. I'm going to just think about this. Let this guy know what you think about this on multiple fronts here. And also, guys, if you have a great story you'd like to share with me, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. And also, guys, if you are on Instagram or Locals, by all means, check me out and follow me, Strong Successful Male. So far, so good this year on the push on social media. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.